go to ePub and ebookhelp.com. We convert your manuscripts into ebook and hard copy print-on-demand masterpieces. The two best ways to create an ePub document from scratch are use Adobe InDesign or do it with an HTML editor like DreamWeaver or Expression Web. An HTML editor is an excellent choice if your manuscript doesn't follow the standard format, just chapters, subchapters, text, and images, and you have strong HTML and CSS editing skills and you know how to use an editor. If you want to add custom HTML or CSS, do it this way. And if you don't want to buy InDesign, it costs about $700 right now and have to learn it. Also, if there's a possibility that you might have to make future changes to styling, do it this way. And the most important reason, if you want a polished, perfect appearance, this is the best way to go. Let's take a look at some of the things that are easier to do with an HTML editor. First of all, here are reader testimonials made with CSS, real easy to do. Here's an embedded YouTube video, very easy to do. Here's an image with a hotspot. Click on it, you go to one of my sales pages. Very easy to do with an HTML editor. And the skills you need to create an ePub with HTML editor are, of course, the design skills with HTML and CSS, and you need to know how to use the editor. The software you need, obviously you need the HTML editor, and we're going to use an ePub editor called Sigil, available for free from Google, and you need an e-reader. And when you go into Sigil, your files and folders will be arranged as follows. You'll have 3 folders sitting on top of each other. One of the folders contains the pages, one contains a style sheet, and the other contains the images. Here are those 3 folders in Sigil. And here are the individual pages in the text folder. Here in the style folder is the style sheet, and there's the CSS in Sigil. And all of the images are in the image folder in Sigil. If we open up one of the pages and go to split view, we can see all the HTML there at the bottom. An ePub contains HTML just like a web page. Now if you go into the HTML editor, you have to set up the files the same way. 3 folders next to each other, one file containing pages, one containing style sheet, one containing images. Let's take a look at Microsoft Expression Web, and we've set it up the same way. There are those 3 folders: images, styles, and text. Let's go into the image folder and see all of the images just like Sigil. Go into the styles folder and see the style sheet just like Sigil. If we click on it, we're going to see the CSS just like Sigil. There's the CSS in the style sheet. And the text folder will have all of the pages just like Sigil. And if we click on one of those pages, we will see the split view. The HTML will be on top and the design view is on the bottom. Just copy back and forth from the HTML editor into Sigil and you're done. It's that easy. So let's do an example right here. The first step is to open up a brand new copy of ePub Editor Sigil. So we go in there and it ships with one generic page and has the styles and image folders. Second step, you create a new page in Sigil for each text page and also a new page for the style sheet. Let's do that. You right click on it and hit add new item. It adds one page. Do it again. Add another page. And let's get down to the styles folder, add new item. We've just added a page that'll be the style sheet. Right? We've just done it 11 times. We've added 11 new pages to Sigil. You want to name each of those pages, same name that it has in Expression Web. So we right click on it, hit rename, and we're going to name that first page cover. Okay? And if we do it to all 11 pages, just like that, now we're going to drag each of the pages into its right location. If we open up the ePub document in a reader and look at the table of contents, we want to verify that we've dragged the pages to the right locations. Now we want to copy all of the image files into Sigil, and then we want to copy all of the HTML from the individual pages and the style sheet from Expression Web into Sigil. It's just a matter of cutting and pasting. So let's go into Sigil, go up the image folder, add existing items, find them on your hard drive, select them, drop them into the image folder in Sigil. Let's go check it out. Yes, they're there. Now we want to open up the style sheet in Sigil. We see an empty style sheet ready to paste the style, the CSS in there. So we go into Expression Web, open up that style sheet, and we see all the CSS. We highlight all that. We want to copy it. So once we highlight it, we right click on it, hit copy, and we're going to copy it, and then we're going to paste it right into Sigil, into that empty page. So we hit paste, and there we have brand new style sheet right in Saigo. We've just copied the CSS right into it. Now let's do that for the pages. Go to one page, hit cover. Now we want to open up the split view. The HTML will be on the bottom. That's generic HTML. Let's go into Expression Web, find that same page in Expression Web, cover, click on it, go over to the split view. That'll have the HTML up top. Just copy all that HTML, right click, hit copy, go back to Saigo, ePub editor, and we're going to paste that HTML right into the generic HTML just like that. Highlight all that generic and then hit paste, and we just created a new page. Design views up top. It's that easy, just cutting and pasting the HTML. Now we're going to save this ePub document right in the same folder. We're going to call it example 2 and save it. And then we're going to open it up. We click on it, we're going to open it up in an e-reader, Adobe Digital Editions, and we're going to go through the pages and see if we've done it correctly. This is what we just created. Okay, here's the table of contents. Looks like all the pages are working. Now, we want to designate a starting point for each page. Right now, each page is a long chapter, and we have to break it up into individual pages. And to do that, let's go into Saigo and open up one of those pages. And let's locate a point where we're going to start a new page right there. Hit the chapter button. That starts a new page. And we can see that new page is called section 0002. That's our first new page. And we're going to do that for all of those. The next step, we want to insert metadata into the ePub document. Metadata is the author name and the title. Now we go into Saigo and we can see all of the new pages we just created. Now go up to the Tools menu and select Meta Editor, and that's where we type in the title and author name. And doing that, we insert the metadata in there, and that's it. Final step, we validate the ePub document. Validate means validate the HTML for correctness. So go up to the Tools menu, then hit Validate ePub, and if everything's okay, then you'll see that down there will appear. If you've done your editing in an HTML editor, probably you'll have no problems with the CSS. And you're done. Congratulations. Now here's some tips for creating your ePub file. First, you want to regularly save that file during creation, open it up in an e-reader, and resize it, making sure that everything's okay in the reflow. Let's do that right here. We're resizing everything and looking at the reflow. Looks all right. Second step, do all of your HTML and CSS editing in the HTML editor. Saigo is a very, very poor HTML editor. Only use that as a placeholder for the completed HTML. Never edit inside there. Always use inline styles. Apply a separate CSS style. For example, don't hit the bold button. Apply a CSS style that does that. Here's an example of that. On the style sheet, here is the style I've created called bold. I would apply that instead of hitting the bold button. Let's do an example. Here's a page, and over on the right are all my CSS styles. If I want to apply bold to that text, I highlight the text, and instead of hitting the bold button, I would go over and apply that CSS style. And we can see up top there that the style has been applied to that text. All of your URLs, you want to shorten with a shortening service like Bitly. Long URLs sometimes do not work in ePubs. In your header tags, H1, H2, H3, determine the position in the table of contents. After you've tagged it, you can apply separate CSS styles to the tagged item as follows. Here's an item that's been tagged H3, and we've applied a separate styling class to that. And we look in the ePub, and that's a third level on the table of contents. The sixth tip, to create a table of contents item that's not going to appear anywhere in the document, you apply a CSS style to it that has the visibility characteristic set to hidden. And here's what that style might look like. The visibility characteristic is set to hidden. Seventh tip, when you're inserting line breaks, you want to go and check out the reflow and make sure that nothing funny is going on. Eighth tip, all of your images should not exceed 500 pixels in height or width, or they won't fit on the page in the e-reader. Final tip, sharpen up all of your images before you put them in ePub. Here's how to do it in Photoshop. First of all, bring the image into Photoshop as a smart object, and we can see we've selected our JPEG, and we can see the little smart object icon in the layers panel there. Go to filter. The sharpening filter we're going to use is the most popular filter. It's called the unsharp mask, the most widely used filter. And that has a little slider that you can adjust that will determine the degree of sharpness. And it looks like we've made that a little too sharp. Let's bring it back a little bit, make it a little less sharp, and hit OK. And now we're done. Congratulations. Now go to ePub and epubandebookhelp.com. We convert your manuscripts into ePub and hard copy print on demand masterpieces.